And so this is when I really started to say, oh my God, I got to figure out how do I eliminate this? I want to think it over pile. And the way that I did it is I started challenging somebody saying, I want to think it over. Clear future. This is step 7 in our sales ascension method. It's very applicable if you're on the phone making a sales call, or if you're in the DMs, let's go, right? So by this stage on a sales call, this is kind of where you're at. I just want to say we've started the sales call. We've done a good connection with strong connection rapport. We've set the rules of the game. That's setting the agenda of the sales conversation. We've uncovered their present pain. We've touched on their budget. We understand how they make buying decisions. We've asked for their business, and here we are now at what we call this clear future, right? Clear future is so valuable. When I put this into my system, I saw my close rates boost almost by 30%. It was like 26.5% just by doing this one step. Very easy to do. I'm going to walk through the sales side. And then also if you're in a DM convo, here's the 4 hinge points of every direct message conversation. So in this particular spot, we're on number 4. So we've gotten engagement in the messages. We sent our initial message and say if they said something back. We've taken a couple of questions and we transitioned them effectively. We've opened the window to do this next step where we've done the invite and we sent them a link. And now they said yes, and we're ready to move forward with the clear future on what to do next. So the outcome for today, we're going to focus on increasing your closes, whether it be in chat to a call or to a workshop or on a call by 15%. Sound good? Sounds good. Say yes in the chat. Just say yes. But again, very, very valuable. We're going to cover a couple of things, the 4 W's of what a clear future is and how to use it, and then 3 scenarios to prepare for, and then building your 3-step plan so you can start executing today. That's the idea, right? So let's go. Again, where are we in the situation? If we're on a DM conversation, we're at the, we've already got acceptance. If we're in the sales conversation, we've already closed the deal or at least asked for the business. What's next? Well, first of all, you got to know what not having a clear future is like. So not having a clear future is kind of like you're deciding to take this road trip and you got your sunglasses, the car's full of gas, you got your cigarettes if you're a smoker, you get in your car, you put your seatbelt on, you crank the stereo up, and then you start backing out of the driveway. Then you're like, oh man, where the hell am I going to go? I don't know, right? Or you don't even know how you're getting there, right? You're in the car, maybe you drive halfway, you got to fly, whatever, right? So if you don't have a clear future of exactly the outcome of what you're looking for, you're in a tough spot. This is why clear futures are valuable. Not having a clear future is kind of like being romantically proposed to, but instead of dreaming about your future together, maybe it's Mr. Right or Miss Right, and they're like, let's get married. And you're like, great. And then you're not dreaming about your future. Rather, you find yourself in an awkward staring contest, not knowing what to do next, right? That is what it's like to not have a clear future. Not having a clear future is kind of like getting a treasure hunt map. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to go find this treasure. And I know I got to get way over there. But the map, when you actually unroll it, is just a map of darkness, right? Good luck with that, for sure. So clear future is really valuable. The bottom line is not having a clear future leaves your prospects feeling stuck. Or maybe they're not feeling stuck. Maybe they're hesitant to move forward with you. Or maybe they're not hesitant. Maybe they're just really confused and they're like, I don't know what to do. This is weird. Like, right? So this is why clear futures are so valuable, because it eliminates all the confusion and the hesitancy. But when you don't have a clear future, nobody is buying anything. This is why we must establish a clear future, okay? Let's go over the 4 W's because this is valuable. The 4 W's of a clear future, pretty straightforward. When we talk about the what, right? What needs to happen next? How is it being done? And then we're going to talk about the when. When do we need something on the calendar if it's not real, right? Like if you don't have something on the calendar, if you're on a sales call and you know it's a 2-call close, if you don't have the next time that you're going to be talking on that sales call, you are very probably likely going to lose that deal. So it's very important to have, if something on the calendar, who's involved, like who's involved in the next step, and then why is everyone doing this in the first place? Very important to kind of push all of these elements into our very clear next future step of the exact thing that we need to do. So let's apply the 4 W's because that's more valuable than looking at theory. There's 3 closing scenarios I'd like you to think through. Okay, so whenever you're in a DM conversation or whenever you're on a sales conversation, the sales close one of three ways, whether we're closing for an appointment, whether we're closing to get into a challenge, an event, we're closing a deal on the phone, whatever. The first way somebody can say is no, right? Or they're disqualified. What's the clear future when somebody says no, right? The second thing they could say, not right now. What's the clear future when somebody says not right now, right? When someone says not right now, we got to figure out what's the one main objection. Is it a timing issue? Is it a money issue? Or just is there unclarity there? And of course, the last way, and I'm going to go through these in detail in a second here, but the last way somebody says yes, obviously that's really valuable. So when somebody says no, what are the clear future things that we need to be doing, right? The first thing is we could either provide them a referral, right? If we're not the right fit to solve their problem and they say no to us, whether it's in chat or it's on a phone, who is? And you say, hey, who do you need to talk to actually solve this? I might know that person. That's one clear future direction you can say. And then you can turn around and ask them for, hey, I know you're not a fit for us, but who do you care about that might be a good fit for us? And it doesn't ever hurt if somebody's already told you no to just ask them for a referral. And then it doesn't get weird or odd. And in some cases, probably a lower percentage, you're going to get a referral. Other cases, you won't. That's okay, right? So asking for a referral. If they're not the best fit, who do they know that is? That's very, very valuable for anybody when somebody says no. So you either provide a referral and then you ask for a referral. That is the clear future when somebody tells you no. Those are the only two things that we can do when somebody says no to us. Get a referral is the outcome. And if you don't, at least you tried. That's the idea. Second scenario, when somebody says not right now. Somebody says not right now, we need to establish what their one true pain is. What's the objection? Hey, is it bad timing? Is it I don't have the money? Are they just still not clear, right? And once they say it, the most important thing you can do is challenge it. Because I'll tell you one thing, when I used to sell and I didn't do clear futures, I had this pile of I want to think it overs that grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And it became my biggest pile of prospects. I had a yes prospect bin, I had a no prospect bin, and then I had this I want to think it over thing that just got so big that it got really, really frustrating, annoying. And my boss at the time was like, what are you doing? You have all these things open. We don't have clarity on where we're going. And so this is when I really started to say, oh my God, I got to figure out how do I eliminate this I want to think it over pile. And the way that I did it is I started challenging somebody saying, I want to think it over. And I would say something like this. Chris would say to me, yeah, man, I just need to think this over. And at first I hit this place called Wimp Junction. And Wimp Junction is just simply saying, okay, that sounds good. I'll talk to you later. And I would leave. And then I would never know if Chris was either leaning yes or leaning no. He was just like, I'm going to think it over. And that was his nice way of saying, get out of my office, as an example. And then what I said is, no. What I got to do is eliminate this big pile of I want to think it overs. And so when somebody brought their I want to think it over to me, I would challenge it. And I would say, sure, makes sense. You should think this over because it's a really big decision for you to make. Let me ask, how are you going to think this over? Because most people don't go sit in their backyard on a rock and be like, I'm going to think over, like nobody's really going to do that. Like, which part of it do you want to think over? Is it me? Is it me? You want to work with me or not work with me? Is it my product or service? Or maybe is it the price? And I would start to ask those types of questions and I would challenge what they were doing. And then what happened is they would all say one thing or another. And then I would know how to have that conversation from that point. And what it started to do was eliminate this I want to think it over bin, and it started pushing people either yes or no. And that gave me relief as a sales professional. And when you get relief as a sales professional, you start to grow in confidence. Confidence that you can handle any scenario, any situation. Confidence that you'll never get stuck anywhere when you're talking to a prospect because you have the ability and the right to ask good questions. And so challenging the not right nows is something that I highly, highly urge you to do. Start today. If you're not doing it now, this is a really, really valuable piece. And then the last scenario is when they say yes. This is great, right? When they say yes, all you do is say, here's the next thing you got to do, right? Here's the three-step plan. And you're like, well, Sean, what's your three-step plan? Our three-step plan might be a little different than yours, but our three-step plan in theory is very simple. Here it is. right? Number one, we want them to complete the investment. If we're on a call, if we're booking a time on through a DM, we want them to make sure that they've booked and told us that they've booked, right? Secondly, if they buy from us, the next move is we want to get them onboarded as fast as possible. And then thirdly, we need them to take the first step, because when they do, they will get more inducted and then they will get results, because that's what we're always trying to do. So here's what my 3-step or our 3-step plan actually sounds like as an example. So we're on the phone, they say yes, we go like this. Great. Your next step is very simple: to complete the investment. Here's the link. Let's do it together. And we would have them do that right then on the call. Okay, now you've completed your payment. Welcome to the family. You need to book your onboarding call. Now, sometimes you can do that on the call, or you can send an email afterwards. And then lastly is like, once you've booked your onboarding call, I need you to go click these 2 buttons and build your first pipeline and templates, or whatever that one next thing is before your meeting again is the exact clear future that you need to give somebody. So think in your world for just a minute here. When somebody says yes to you, whether it's in the DMs, what is the exact next step that you need them to take? And then how do we start to word that? Right? That's it. So a couple of weekly resources I want to give to you. We have some really cool resources here. The first one is a sales checklist here. In fact, I have them up on my screen, which I will share with you. So we have the sales ascension checklist. I think this is the deep dive one here. Yeah, so this is the resource guide. It actually goes through our entire selling process. So I'll give that to you, put that in the chat. This is really great. You can just click on the buttons over here and it'll take you right to the part. So this is what we covered today, is just step 7. It would behoove you guys to read through this whole document, because it's like very, very intense. This is something that Chris and I have sold and taught at a very high level for a long time. That's the first thing. And then of course you can get this checklist here, and you can get our 4 hinge points if you need that. Some people put this, they just print it out and put it on their desk to remember, oh, I'm in a sales call, I got to hit all of these steps. Or, oh, I'm in a DM conversation, I got to go through these steps. So if you want either one of those, I'll drop the links in the chat in just a second, so you have that. And these are really, really valuable resources for you guys. And so then the last thing that we're going to come to is this here, the mission of the week, the thing that you guys need to put into practice today. So first of all, we want you to refine and practice your clear future delivery for getting a no, for getting a not right now, and what are the 3-step plans once they say yes. If you have these written out somewhere and you deploy this to your team, or you're doing it yourself, and you know, hey, if somebody says no to me, these are the things I do. This is the next step I need them to do. They need to give me a referral. If they say not right now, first step, I need to challenge this. And then I challenge and I handle the objection. And then I either go yes or no, right? And then if they say yes, of course, what is your next 3 steps that they can take to move forward? And then when you refine and practice your clear future delivery for getting a yes, you are on your way. That's it. Go FlowChat. Let's do some Q&A.